season, an episode of Game of Thrones. So I was just super excited about the last episode. I even dreamt about it. I actually dreamt about meeting the Khaleesi, and it was totally amazing. Yes. So guys, how did you feel when you were watching the episode 6 of season 8? My God, I was totally disappointed. Not disappointed in the way it ended, but I was disappointed in Jon Snow. I was totally pissed all through that particular episode. I mean, I kept on saying Jon Snow is stupid, Jon Snow is dumb, Jon Snow is just totally annoying. Like, fine, I understand the dude. You are a loyal man. You're a very committed person. Whenever you make any promise, you just want to keep on to your promise, and you're not the sort of person to go back on your word. But then, how do you switch from one person that wants to support good all the time, and then you switch to even justifying the actions of the devil? I mean, look at the way she burns down everything and everybody, men, women, and children. I was totally irritated the way Jon Snow kept on defending her. And then when Arya was even telling her that, look, they should live together, and he was like, no, she's our queen now, she's our queen now. Like, how does that guy even reason? Fine, I understand that he's just a character in the TV series, but then at some point I was just totally irritated. Like, come on, man. Fine, I know that along the line, in the series, everybody has been switching from good character to bad character, from bad character to good character. Like, look at Jaime Lannister. He switched from being the hateful person he was to being the good knight who wanted to fight against the White Walkers. And then he went back to his sister. That shows love. That shows a man that has grown from being a very obsessed sibling lover to someone that became really humane. But then I was just really disappointed in Jon Snow, because I felt like there's a thin line between trying to support evil, there's a thin line between trying to support good, and then you switching from being a really loyal person to being someone that's totally unreasonable. Honestly, guys, I was just totally disappointed in him. But then he actually made up for his disappointment anyways in that particular episode 6, because he had a talk with Tyrion Lannister, and then Tyrion made him understand that, look, this person we are talking about here is totally the entire same version of her father, the Mad King. Yes, we understand she's trying to liberate the whole world, but look at what her liberation has cost. I mean, in Meereen, in the guise of liberating all the slaves, turning them into free men, she executed over 150 of their masters. Is that what liberation is all about? I mean, this is a queen that doesn't believe in taking up prisoners. So fine, someone doesn't agree to your will. What do? You put the person in chains for a bit, and according to the laws and traditions of how they used to operate back in those times. But then what she believes in is bringing fire and blood to her enemies. I feel like that is totally not what a queen should stand for. I mean, to some extent, I started justifying Cersei's acts, because I felt like, okay, to some extent, Cersei is actually better than Daenerys, no matter how we want to see it. But Cersei sometimes is reasonable. She doesn't act without thinking. She doesn't act without consequences. She thinks like 10 steps ahead of her actions. She already foresees what the repercussions will be, and then she goes ahead to do whatever she wants to do. But then for Daenerys, I feel like maybe because she's a child, or maybe she's obsessed about becoming queen, and then she uses the reason of, oh, because I want to liberate the entire world. And according to what Tyrion was predicting, Tyrion told Jon Snow that, look, did you not hear what she said? That she's going to liberate the entire people of Westeros, and then she's going to go to the world beyond. If liberation is what she calls liberation, then that means automatically, if she goes to any other kingdom aside the 7 kingdoms and nobody wants to bend to her will, then she's just going to burn down everything and everybody, just like she did at King's Landing. Anyways, guys, that's one part of episode 6 that totally got me really irritated. And then another part that really got me excited was the part where Jon Snow killed Daenerys. My God, I breathed a huge sigh of relief, because I felt like now you have sense. Before, you carry your sense dash give Dothraki Hammy, but now you have sense. No, really, and I felt like he was actually the right person to have done that, because that's Drogo, the dragon, who only recognizes Jon Snow, as the only person that he could trust with Daenerys, his queen. So nobody else could have easily killed Daenerys, not even Arya, who has a lot of skills in being faceless and all of that. So I liked the fact that Jon Snow was able, to take that bold step. And talking about his punishment of sending him back to what's it called? Castle Black. Is it Castle Black? Yes, Castle Black. I felt like that was just the right thing to do because remember I said in my previous video where I did a review of episode 5 of season 8, I said that Jon Snow is actually a man of very, very impressive character, very good character, but then he is actually a very, very weak person that could actually allow the will of a woman to rule his senses, and that was what Targaryen said, that love removes you from your duty. I'm actually not quoting directly, just paraphrasing, so Jon Snow, a lot of times we've seen, or let's say on just 2 occasions actually, he has allowed love to cloud his sense of reasoning and to also cloud his duty. I mean, come on, Jon Snow had a duty to the Stark family. He had a duty to protect his sisters, but he wasn't doing it the right way by continuously supporting what Daenerys was doing. I mean, he saw everything that she did, the way she just, ruined King's Landing, and she still went ahead with, or he rather still went ahead with allegiance, still saying that she's our queen, she's our queen, she's our queen. Anyways, I was really, really excited at the judgment, meted out on him. Of course, I would have been sad if he was actually given to the Unsullied, that's Grey Worm, to kill, but then I was also excited at the fact that he was given a chance to life again by being sent to the Black Wall. Is it the Black Wall? Is it Castle Black? Yeah, Castle Black. Yeah, the Night's Watch. So once again, Jon Snow takes up his commander's status of, the Night's Watch. And who knows, maybe, just maybe, the Night Walkers will come back again. And then there might be another series. Probably this time around, not called Game of Thrones, but maybe called something else exciting, but maybe a continuation, a sequel to Game of Thrones. I'm actually looking forward to that. So another part of episode 6 that really, really touched me was the part where Jon Snow killed Daenerys, and then Drogo was so emotional. He totally lost it. And I almost wept at that point because I felt like, wow, these 2 people, I mean Daenerys and the dragon, they share a very strong bond. Yes, Daenerys is called Mother of Dragons, and Drogo was actually the first dragon that became adult, of the 3 dragons that she had. And Drogo was actually that particular dragon that was really, really stubborn, At some point in the whole Game of Thrones series, there was a time that Daenerys could no longer control the actions of Drogo. That was when she was at Meereen, and Drogo would just go away on his own and kill, animals and also kill people, So there was a time that Daenerys could not control Drogo. So she felt like, oh my God, is it that this particular child of mine is going to now start wreaking havoc on the entire people of Westeros, And we, the viewers, also felt that way. But then, as we could see, as time went on in the entire series, their bond grew stronger and stronger. They've been through so much together. They've been through wars. They've been through disagreements, like mother and child would have. And then they finally get to the end, where Daenerys finally sees the Iron Throne. She even touches it, but then she could not sit on it, So at that point where Jon killed Daenerys, I could feel Drogo's pain. I could feel his hurt, and I could feel his wailing, and he was so enraged. And mind you, he would have killed Jon Snow at that point, but then the only thing that stopped him was because he recognized Jon Snow as a true Targaryen and also as his mother's lover. So that was what saved Jon Snow. But then he did something really, really interesting. He melted down the Iron Throne, and that was very symbolic at that point. It was like him saying to Jon Snow and to the entire viewers that, look, if my mother could not sit on the Iron Throne, then nobody else has a right to sit on the Iron Throne. And Jon Snow was already surrendering himself to be killed, but he wasn't killed by Drogo. So at that point, Drogo picks up Daenerys's body, her dead body, and they flew away to God knows where. So we leave that search to Brandon, to go and look for them wherever they went. So another really interesting fact that we or I couldn't miss in episode 6, season 8 of Game of Thrones is the irony of it all. Now, from season 1, we could see how Cersei completely underestimated Tyrion. She was always looking down on him, and even us, the viewers, always looked down on Tyrion because we felt like he's the imp, he's the one at a disadvantage, he doesn't have any skill at war, he doesn't know how to fight, he couldn't even defend himself. But at the end of the day, look at all the Lannister family, of how powerful they were. Imagine that at the end of the day, Tyrion was actually the last Lannister standing. I mean, I was so happy, like I had to give him accolades, at that point when Brandon made him the Hand of the King. And that goes to show as well that all the books that he had been reading wasn't put to waste, because his wisdom came into play when all the powerful lords and, ladies and all of them were trying to decide who was going to be king, because at the end of the day, they found out that Jon Snow was no longer worthy to sit on the Iron Throne because they felt like he betrayed them in the first place. So while the Unsullied held him prisoner, they debated on who would become king. And then Tyrion used his wisdom to advise them that Brandon would be the perfect person to sit on the Iron Throne because he knows everybody's story. He is the three-eyed raven. He is that boy that everybody had written of that would die from the crazy fall from the high building by Jaime Lannister. And he did not die. He became a cripple, and not even dying, he trained himself to become the three-eyed raven. He learned from the best, and now he is that person that could tell everybody their story, the present, the past, and could also tell them about the future and how to better the lives of the people of the Seven Kingdoms. So I felt like that was really, really another symbolic moment. And what did I learn from that point? Never, ever underestimate anybody, be them an imp or a giant, because ironically all the giants in the series who were wildlings, they all died. Even the mountain that was protecting Cersei, she died. He died rather. Even the Hound, he died. Everybody who were all giants, powerful, they all died. And the imp, Tyrion Lannister, was the last man standing of King's Landing and of the Lannisters family. So that was a very, very symbolic moment for me. Another moment that really, really got me in my feelings was the fact that, there's this comparison that Cersei had 3 children, and all of them, they tasted power, they tasted rulership, but then they all died. And the Stark children, although there weren't just 3, there was Arya remaining, there was Sansa remaining, and there was Brandon remaining. See, they became the rulers of that world. I mean, Brandon became king of the Seven Kingdoms. Sansa became the Queen of the North. And I loved the way she stood strong for the people of the North, saying that they could not become a part of the kingdom anymore, of the Seven Kingdoms anymore, because they have tasted war, they have tasted death, and they want to be independent. And thankfully, Brandon granted her a wish. So she became Queen of the North. And Arya Stark, our lovely, lovely Arya Stark, became the adventurer that she had always wanted to become. Yeah, Arya said that she wanted to discover what laid out there in the world aside the Seven Kingdom and Westeros as a whole that they all knew about. So she went on her own journey, finding her own way in life, her own path in life. And as for Jon Snow, he continued his commandership or his rulership or leadership of the, what they call it, yeah, should I say the wildlings, or what's that name again? Anyways, I can't really remember. But then I felt like the end of episode 6 season 8. In fact, the end of Game of Thrones was totally worth it. I completely loved how all the characters found themselves, how all the characters developed. I completely loved how everybody found their own peace, how everybody found their own position. The Greyjoys, they went back to being rulers of the sea. Grey Worm took the Unsullied and the Dothraki army away from King's Landing. God knows where they are going. And I have a feeling that another war is brewing. Because Grey Worm and Jon Snow, they still have a score to settle over Daenerys' death. So I still have a feeling that there might be another sequel to the Game of Thrones. What do you guys think? Anyways, that is my own review of the final episode of Game of Thrones. It was a TV series that was worth my time. I do not regret any time spent watching the entire series, right? So guys, if you have your own take on my review of episode 6 of season 8 Game of Thrones, kindly provide your comments in the comment section below. And if you're yet to subscribe to my YouTube channel, click on the red subscribe button and let's become a part of the family. I have so many other amazing reviews to do, and in my next videos I will be talking about what character of the Game of Thrones are you. I already have a character that I have in mind, that I want to be, that I look like, that I sound like, that I behave like. So we will get to see about that video in the next episode of Frankly Speaking with Glory. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.